Not all roads are made equal. Some are beautiful. The twisting, scenic byways along the Pacific coast, winding dirt roads through rolling hills, and long, rural streets that traverse farmland and fields. Others are designed to accommodate high volumes of vehicles, getting people where they need to be. Others still are iconic. In fact, Route 66, which opened in 1926 and was fully paved during the New Deal era, was originally constructed to allow truckers and farmers to transport goods more easily across the country. Today, it's a cultural touchstone known for its appearance in John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath, for its role in transportation of supplies and personnel during World War II, and now, attracting millions of people to historic Route 66 destinations all along the original route. But what about the intense roads? Ones so crazy and wild that it's hard to even imagine. Where are the world's most insane roads located? What do they look like? And what makes them stand out? Today's episode will take you on a heart-stopping journey to explore some of the most extreme, intense, thrilling, and terrifying roads on the planet. So sit down, buckle up, and enjoy the ride. One of the most extreme and craziest roads in the world is called the Atlanter Havsveien, also known as the Atlantic Ocean Road, a 22-mile road located in Norway. Atlantic Ocean Road's reputation as one of the most dangerous roads in the world is no joke. But it's also considered one of the most scenic drives as well. The road is known for its famed Storseisundet Bridge, which is also called the Bridge to Nowhere. As you can see here, the bridge appears to be a ramp leading up to the sky, so you might not want to look down when you're riding on this stretch of road. The road winds along the edge of the sea, surrounded by steep cliffs and insane crashing waves. The sheer force of these waves can be so strong that during stormy weather, you and your vehicle may be pulled into the sea by the waves that crash onto the road. The Atlantic Ocean Road is known for being curvy with dips and arches winding through brutal waves. The highway brings travelers out to the farthest point on the coast, where the land ends and the ocean begins. This scenic drive is popular amongst anglers who go fishing for cod and other fish from the bridges, one of which is designed for fishing. The Atlanter Havsveien is one of the few roads along the Norwegian coast to have an open sea view, with panoramic views like these. The road also is host to fjords and mountains, as you can see here. Rest facilities along the road have bold architectural forms and viewing platforms for those visiting the Norwegian road. The weather in the area is unpredictable and harsh, with rapidly vanishing visibility. Not only that, but the sudden drops in temperature and strong winds can be deadly to travelers. Oftentimes, the wind exceeds 30 miles per hour on the bridges. This is just the first road on our crazy list. Just wait until what you see next. Also in Norway, you'll find a similarly steep, bending road called Trollstigen. Trollstigen Road sends drivers up a sheer mountain with 11 hairpin turns and reaches 2,756 feet above sea level at its peak. To put that into perspective, that's a 10% incline. But the quick switchbacks and nauseating heights isn't what is the most insane about this road. The Trollstigen also passes the Stigfossen waterfall over a stone bridge at over 1,000 feet high. Isn't that gorgeous? In the winters, the road is closed because of the dangerous conditions, but when the road is open, it sure is worth stopping at the viewpoints to admire Norway's beauty. Just a short drive away from Trollstigen is the country's tallest vertical mountain wall, called Troll Wall. What do you think? Would you check out Norway's Trollstigen? Over in Romania, the Transfagarasan, also known as the Road to the Sky, climbs over 5,000 feet while crossing the Carpathian Mountains. The road has an interesting history, which, along with its stunning views, is responsible for its fame. Depending on who you ask, the road was either meant to protect against a potential Soviet invasion, or was a folly built by Nicolae Ceausescu just because he said that he could build it. Regardless of the story you believe, there have been reports of hundreds of people dying during dynamite blasts during construction during the 1970s. The Romanian road has almost constant hairpin turns and required a huge number of bridge crossings, making it an engineering spectacle. Perhaps what the Transfagarasan is best known for is Vlad the Impaler, who lived just off the route up 1,480 stairs, climbing toward the 13th century Poenari Castle. Vlad the Impaler inspired the character Dracula. Imagine that. You might also hear about Stelvio Pass, located on the border between Italy and Switzerland, which, like the Transfargation Highway, is highly regarded for its scenery and intensity. Cyclists and runners often navigate the road in races. With 75 hairpin turns, Stelvio Pass is an intense and crazy road with a considerably steep incline, much like the Transfargation Highway in Romania. Which would you rather conquer? Or perhaps would you like to try this next awe-inspiring road? Despite being one of the most scenic roads on the planet, the Karakoram Highway serves as a reminder that even beautiful nature can be especially dangerous. The 810-mile stretch of road connecting China to Pakistan is among one of the most extreme roads in the world, surrounded by steep cliffs all along the route, as you can see here. The road stretches through some of the most dangerous, rugged, and inaccessible terrain in Asia, running through the Pamirs, the Tianmen Mountains, the Hindu Kush, and the Karakoram Range. The highway also eventually reaches the Upper Indus River Valley. The highest point of the highway also marks the highest international border crossing in the world. The Khunjerab Pass, which marks the border between Pakistan and China, reaches an elevation of more than 15,000 feet above sea level. The air at this point is so thin that it can take your breath away, if the scenic views don't do it first. The terrain surrounding the Karakoram Highway is riddled with landslides, falling rocks, avalanches, snowdrifts, floods, and even herds of animals, posing an even greater threat to drivers' safety. The Karakoram Highway is a popular path which follows along the original Silk Road trade routes, but that doesn't mean visiting this crazy road is safe. The construction of the highway began in 1959 and resulted in as many as 1,000 workers' deaths due to dynamite blasts and landslides. And 17 people tragically lost their lives when their bus plunged into a gorge when the driver took one of Karakoram's turns too quickly. Even after its creation, the highway has required a lot of maintenance and has a significant economic impact on the surrounding Uyghur, Tajik, and Kyrgyz peoples. Others, including tourists, have died as a result of the road's many landslides. Despite the dangers it poses, the Karakoram Highway continues to attract many thrill-seekers and adventurers. But clearly, this road is not for the faint of heart. Neither is this next road, but perhaps not for the reasons you might think. The Pan American Highway connects Alaska to Argentina and Chile, connecting many countries and 2 different continents. The road weaves through mountains, plains, valleys, jungles, farms, and villages, and spans almost 30,000 miles, 48,000 kilometers. For most of the road, the Pan American Highway is not particularly more dangerous than an average highway in the Americas. However, some stretches of the highway are dangerous or inaccessible, including a 100-mile, 160-kilometer stretch of rainforest. Initially, the idea surfaced in 1889 and was meant to be a railroad to connect all the nations in the Western Hemisphere. Historically, the Carrera Panamerica was a Pan-American race, the first of which was held in May 1950. The race began here at Ciudad Juarez, near the Mexican-American border, and ended at Cuauhtemoc, near the Guatemalan border. Experienced race car drivers and a few amateur Americans participated, the winner racing at an average 142 kilometers per hour. The race was conducted a total of 5 times, but it proved to be deadly. Each time the stakes got higher, the cars went faster, and the death toll rose. The race developed a reputation for driver and spectator casualties. The worst accident killed 83 spectators and 1 driver, and the race was made to stop. Though on its face, the Pan American Highway may not appear to be one of the most dangerous and crazy highways in the world, the fraught political tensions on this otherwise mundane highway make this one of the most extreme and intense roads on the planet. Local rebel factions along one stretch of the road, especially near Panama and Colombia's border, are known to set up roadblocks, extort travelers for money, and even abduct and hold travelers for ransom. These are allegedly Marxist FARC rebels, who are known for killing or kidnapping interlopers. Some missionaries have disappeared in the region, and 1 Swedish backpacker's remains were recovered in 2015. The Darien Gap. This section of the Pan American Highway that's near the Panama-Colombia border is one of the most remote and dangerous parts of the Western Hemisphere. The gap is home to the Great Atrado Swamp, which has crocodiles and snakes. Building a road in this swampy area would be prohibitively expensive and could be detrimental to the ecosystem by restricting the free movement of water. Here, the intensity of the road comes from people, rather than dangerous terrain and natural disasters. But it still takes major courage to pass through parts of this highway. A straightforward trip from Alaska to Chile is not feasible because the Darien Gap is off-limits to foreign travelers. Attempting to do so would be life-threatening, like many of the roads still yet to come. Not far from the Pan American Highway is Routa 40, located in Argentina. At over 3,100 miles long, Routa 40 is the longest road in Argentina and one of the longest in the world. This national road spans from La Quiaca Jujuy in the north, near the Bolivian border, to Cabo Vergenes in Santa Cruz in the south. The road is partially unpaved, but it runs through 11 provinces and 20 national parks, while running parallel to the Andes Mountains and crossing stretches of Patagonia. This road passes through stunning wilderness, remote landscapes, and 236 bridge crossings. Not only that, but the cost of renting a car to drive one way across Routa 40 is prohibitively expensive for most travelers seeking to brave Argentina's Routa 40. So some opt to buy a used car and sell it at the end of the journey. Either way, the car must have enough strength and reliability to make it through the mountain passes, including Abra de la Calle, the highest road in the Americas at 16,060 feet tall. What do you think? Do the many national parks and beautiful wildlife appeal to you? This road, officially known as Commonwealth Avenue in the Philippines, also called Killer Highway, is famed for being a place of fatal accidents and virtually never-ending gridlock. The road is 7.7 miles, 12.4 kilometers long, and has between 6 and 18 lanes throughout the lane as the widest lane in the Philippines. The speed limit is just 35 miles per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, but the chaotic, congested driving is responsible for between 3 and 5 accidents every day. Some figures project almost 7,000 people die on the avenue annually, most of which are pedestrians, cyclists, and bystanders. The road is a vital connection between many nearby cities. First constructed in the 1960s, Commonwealth Avenue has no signs or traffic lights to guide the traffic, and there are no designated bike or motorcycle lanes. The road is home to extreme levels of traffic, horrible drainage, and reckless driving. After an accident happens, there are commonly casualties because nearby bystanders who gather around the scene are often subsequently hit by imprudent drivers. The highest causes of risk include many cars trying to pass each other, many large vehicles such as dump trucks, cargo trucks, buses, and other vehicles colliding, improper drainage and heavy flooding during the rain season, and a high amount of people standing nearby. Not only that, but there are high levels of crime including murder, kidnapping, and looting. So perhaps you better head to some of the roads where people aren't so common, where we'll see our first of 2 roads that breach the Arctic. In Russia, the A360 Lena Highway, also known as Amur-Yakutsk Road or the Road of Bones, is one of the most dangerous and insane roads of the Arctic. Prior to 2014 in the summer, with any kind of notable rain, the road would often become impassable and even swallow smaller vehicles. Since being paved, the road is accessible throughout the year. The highway was built between 1925 and 1964 and is 703 miles, 1,131 kilometers long, running from Never to Yakutsk, a Russian port city on the Lena River, which is the largest city built fully on permafrost. Connected to the Amur Highway is a road that runs over the frozen river in the winter. The road does not have a bridge, but instead there's a winter road running over the river. However, the winter ice sometimes starts breaking up, posing incredible danger. In the summer, cars can take a ferry across the river. In the fall, the ice is too weak to support cars but prevents ferry crossings, so vehicles can only cross the Lena River by helicopter. The road is not a short route. The road lasts a whole 10.5 miles, 17 kilometers. Driving across the ice road is very dangerous. The road can't always support vehicles. Ice fog can make visibility very difficult, and permafrost along the road can also create muddy, dangerous conditions. The Lena Highway is an insane road to travel on, regardless of how you look at it. Another insane and spectacular road is the Fairy Meadows Road in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan. The road is a high mountain track that's unpaved, completely unmaintained, and has no guardrails to protect you. The road is located in Fairy Meadows National Park and is nearly 10 miles, 16 kilometers long. It runs north-south off the Karakoram Highway we mentioned earlier, near Fairy Meadows, a beautiful destination that's about 11,000 feet, 3,300 meters above sea level. Not only that, but it begins high in the Himalayas near the Indus River and rises about 8,000 feet, 2,400 meters on its just 6.2-mile, 10-kilometer long path. The road is naturally called the Road of Death. The Fairy Meadows Road is known as one of the most dangerous roads in the world, ranked as second deadliest on the planet in 2013. Its high altitude, instability, and mountainous terrain make it dangerous and intense. Fairy Meadows Road is most insane and dangerous where the unpaved, uneven mountainous terrain gets very narrow and ascends for 6 miles, 9.6 kilometers. Without barriers to prevent vehicles from falling off the cliff face, and as the road is no wider than a standard Jeep Wrangler, combined with the flow of through traffic, one false step could lead to disaster. Today, the road is open to locals only because there have been so many fatalities. The locals often shuttle visitors from the Raikot Bridge to the village of Tato, one Jeep load at a time. Those who make it safely to the other side have a 3 to 4 hour long hike from the village to reach the mountain of Fairy Meadows. What's more, Fairy Meadows Road has not gone through any repairs since it was first built by villagers of the Nanga Parbat Mountain, led by Brigadier Im Aslam Khan, first Commander Gilgit Scouts, and local people centuries ago. The road is a private toll road, has unstable gravel, and is clearly unforgettable. Given the dangers it poses, the road is only accessible in summer, but snow throughout the year can cause it to be shut down unpredictably. This road is not for the faint of heart, but even still, this next road is perhaps even more dangerous. Bolivia is home to another road known for its many fatalities, called Death Road colloquially. Yungas Road is known for its notoriously high death rate. During the 1930s, the road was constructed on the side of the Cordillera Oriental Mountains by Paraguayan prisoners during the Chaco War. As you can see here, the mountainous terrain and immense precipices surrounding this winding road stretches for 43 miles, 69 kilometers. Originating in La Paz, Bolivia, and reaching Coroico, the road connects the Amazon rainforest to the capital city of Bolivia. Yungas Road climbs about 15,250 feet, 4,650 meters from La Paz to La Cumbre Pass, and then steadily descends to 1,200 meters in Coroico. Many of Death Road's cliffs are as high as 900 meters. The difference in altitudes creates both cold conditions in the Altiplano highlands and hot, humid weather in the lower rainforest. Bolivia's Death Road has been the sole link between the La Paz and the Yungas region of Bolivia since the 1950s. There are often crowded buses, trucks packed with people, wood and crops, and heavy traffic on the road, which used to all try to take over one another even at night. You may notice here that the road hosts 9-foot, 3-meter wide roads, hairpin turns, and was for a long time a single-track road. Given these dangerous and extreme conditions, many buses and trucks have gone down the side of the cliffs, tragically taking many people's lives as a result. The steep cliffs, rainy weather, lack of visibility, and other hazardous conditions like rock falls and a lack of guardrails until recently have led to many motorist casualties. Estimates figure that yearly 200 to 300 drivers were killed annually along Yungas Road for many years. One of the most tragic road accidents in Bolivia's history took place on July 24, 1983, when a crowded bus veered off the road and into a canyon, killing over 100 passengers. Along the road, there are an unsettling number of crosses and altars marking the spots where many people lost their lives. Since 1998, an estimated 22 cyclists or more have lost their lives while exploring Bolivia's Death Road. The devastating dangers of the Death Road clearly earn the road its nickname. Is Death Road in Bolivia still dangerous after so many lives have been lost? Yungas Road has been largely modernized over the past 2 decades. The road now has 2 driving lanes, asphalt pavement instead of rocky terrain, and now has guardrails and drainage systems to manage the rain. An alternate route was constructed in 2009 that replaced this dangerous and deadly route. All traffic has been diverted to the new road, so motorists can travel from La Paz to Coroico without fearing for their lives. Still, Yungas Road has little mercy for travelers. Today, most of the death toll consists of local workers and daredevil backpackers who continue to use the notoriously dangerous, intense road. In spite of the jarring statistics, the 40-mile, 64-kilometer downhill bike ride has drawn many thrill-seekers and mountain bikers to Bolivia since the 1990s. But nothing is as crazy as the next road, which was almost entirely chiseled by hand. This list of the most extreme roads would not be complete without the Guoliang Tunnel in China. Pictures of the Guoliang Tunnel are actually often mistaken for Bolivia's youngest road, which we just discussed. Carved into the cliffs of the Tianmen Mountains, the Guoliang Tunnel spans 3/4 of a mile, 1.2 kilometers, and is 16 feet tall and 13 feet wide, 4.8 by 4 meters. More than 30 windows of different shapes and sizes overlook the gully used by its builders to remove rubble from the tunnel, and now allow light into the tunnel. As you can see here, some of the windows are round, while others are square, and some are dozens of meters long, while others are standard window size. The tunnel is located in the northwestern part of the Henan province in China, and is famed for being in a dangerous location and for being extremely difficult to construct. Built in the early 1970s, the Guoliang Tunnel is one of the most famous Chinese tunnel roads. The tunnel was carved into the side of a mountain, opening in 1977. Now a popular tourist attraction, bringing in welcome revenue, the tunnel actually brings more attention than anticipated or desired. Entirely built by just 13 locals in a nearby village, the tunnel took 5 years, 4,000 hammers, 12 tons of steel, and a whole lot of chisels to complete. Just 13 people built that entire tunnel. Imagine how exhausting that must have been. The locals sought to connect the Tianmen Mountains and Guoliang to the rest of Huishan Xinjiang in the Henan province of China. At the most difficult point in construction, the tunnel progressed at a rate of 1 meter per 3 days. Prior to its construction beginning in 1972, the only way to reach the village of Guoliang was through steep, narrow stairs in the mountainside called the Sky Ladder, which was an extremely treacherous climb up a slippery slope. Even the most agile villagers struggled to climb the extreme route. The Guoliang Tunnel was built by 13 villagers headed by their chief Shen Mingxin, but multiple of them died during the construction. Nonetheless, the rest continued building the tunnel, showing the dedication and perseverance of the villagers. Notice how steep the cliffs are along the Guoliang scenic area near the road. The tunnel is pretty intimidating, as it's gained a reputation of being a road that does not tolerate any mistakes. The road requires serious focus, as the villagers say that one mistake means big trouble in Little China. The road is only wide enough for one-way traffic, so as the tunnel twists, turns, and dips unpredictably, as you can see here, drivers are often left gripping the steering wheel in anticipation of what could come at them in the quick turns and bends in the narrow tunnel. Many drivers have suffered injuries and even death because of neglect and their underestimation of how difficult the road is to drive. Also called the Cliff Corridor of Wanshan Mountain or Guoliang Cave, the tunnel is known for endangering lives, but also its extreme beauty. The windows provide glimpses of the stunning views the mountain and tunnel have to offer. Now, let's find out where the second Arctic road in our list is located. The first road ever intended for motorized vehicles that crossed into the Arctic was called the Halsema Highway in the state of Alaska. The road was intended to provide access via roads to the newfound oil resources on the north slope. The Halsema Highway opened in 1968 and brought the first supplies to oil fields near Prudhoe Bay and made it possible to construct the first permanent facilities. However, the road was further west than necessary, as the Trans-Alaska Pipeline was to be constructed further east. So, without maintenance, the road was eventually abandoned. Though the Halsema Highway was historically a significant road in Alaska, the Dalton Highway, which was constructed in the years after, may be one of the most extreme, dangerous, insane roads on our planet. Originally constructed by the Alyeska Pipeline Service Company to service oil fields and develop the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, the Dalton Highway of Alaska is one of the northernmost highways on the planet. Also known as Hall Road, the road is now owned and maintained by the state of Alaska and is open to the public all year long, as it has been since 1994. In recent years, cyclists and motorcyclists, along with other tourists, have increasingly explored what the Dalton has to offer. The road runs for 414 miles, 666 kilometers, and can bring you from Leavengood, a small town just north of Fairbanks, to the Arctic Circle and to Dead Horse, Alaska, on the shores of the Arctic Ocean. You might recognize the Dalton, also known as James W. Dalton Highway, from the television show Ice Road Truckers. The road runs through some of Alaska's most remote, scenic, and insane wilderness. But you might be wondering, just how remote is remote? Well, there are only 3 tiny towns along the highway, and often the only companion for a driver on the Dalton Highway may be the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, which runs parallel to the road. From the midpoint of the road in the town of Coldfoot, which got its name in 1900 because it's there that many travelers got cold feet and would turn around as winter approached, to the end of the road in Dead Horse, you will not find gas stations, restaurants, or hotels, nor will you find any services at all in the whole 240-mile, 386-kilometer stretch of road. The Alaska Department of Transportation's website warns tourists that the highway is not your average highway. Driving conditions are dangerous, extreme, and unlike anything you might have ever seen. Services in the area are extremely limited, so a vehicle must be suitable for the driving conditions and equipped with sufficient fuel, food, water, first aid supplies, spare tires, clothing, and emergency gear. You should also pack a CB radio if you plan to trek along the Dalton. Most of the traffic on the Dalton is commercial vehicles headed to oil fields to deliver fuel, supplies, equipment, and other goods. Proper preparation is essential because this road is not for the faint of heart. The surrounding terrain begins in a boreal forest, then runs over the 4,800-foot Atagun Pass in the Brooks Mountains, which then becomes the Arctic foothills. The land ends with approximately 55 miles, 88.5 kilometers of Arctic coastal plain tundra. The Dalton is mostly gravel or dirt, with intermittent pavement. The road is rough in the summer and winter alike, so vehicles must be well equipped for remote travel. Rental cars are not encouraged on this road, and many rental car companies prohibit driving on the Dalton Highway. The Alaska Department of Transportation services the road with 7 year-round maintenance camps open every day of the week. Each maintenance station covers about 60 to 70 miles of road. However, this may not save you from the immense danger posed by the road. The winter is the most extreme time of year for the Dalton. However, winter conditions last from early August all the way to June each year, and the Dalton has even had snow in July. As you might imagine, avalanches in the Atagun Pass and other areas are common and can leave drivers stranded for days. Allegedly, there have been temperatures as low as negative 82 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 63 degrees Celsius, that have been recorded in this area. At one point along the road, there is what is colloquially called the "oh shit" corner, one particularly dangerous curve on the road that poses an especially high danger to trucks driving too quickly. Not only that, but the road is host to the longest stretch of unserviced road in North America, spanning 240 miles, 386 kilometers. If the cold, snow, and fog doesn't get you, the fatigue from the long drive might. Moreover, the weather has created large potholes in the road, and bears also pose a danger. As you can see here, the Dalton Highway crosses into the Arctic Circle at 66 degrees 33 latitude, a feat unique to few roads. The Dalton also passes through the gates of the Arctic National Park and Preserve, as well as the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. These massive swaths of land are incredible places of land and biodiversity that attract some daredevil visitors. Therefore, many people find it worth braving the remote and freezing Dalton to view some of Alaska's most remote, beautiful wildlife. Another Philippines road that makes the list for being one of the most extreme roads on the planet, Halsema Highway. The highway is known for being one of the most dangerous roads in the world. For years, commuters, transporters, visitors, and locals have driven along the route, braving the narrow, steep drop-offs and crags, which sometimes are taller than 1,000 feet, 304 meters. Sometimes, cars stopped or parked in the middle of the road can pose a safety hazard, and the steep roads can be dangerous without good brakes and tires. The road has recently become safer and less intense, as crews recently constructed an asphalt road crossing the Cordillera Central Mountains, located on the island of Luzon. The road is host to many dangerous sections, which are especially risky during the rainy season in the Philippines. Landslides, big rocks, and debris can all impact the road conditions, and the fog from the misty nearby forests can impede visibility. The asphalt can get extremely slippery, though it was far more dangerous in the 1980s, when it was considered to be one of the most dangerous roads on the planet. Halsema Highway is now much more developed and drivable, so people can drive sedans more safely on the road. However, driving at daylight with good brakes and tires and with a full tank of gas are all necessary to stay safe on Halsema Highway. But hold on to your lunch, because we're about to take 99 turns on our way to heaven. Also in Asia, the 99 Bend Road that spans nearly 7 miles, 11 kilometers, has a stunning 99 sharp turns. The road winds through Zhangjiajie Tianmen Mountain National Forest Park, and was first constructed in 1998. Usage of this insane road began in May of 2005. Can you imagine making so many sharp turns in such a short stretch of land? As you can see here, the many switchbacks and hairpin 180-degree turns make it difficult to drive the Tianmen Mountain. The turns are often very close together along the road, and the road is literally carved into the side of the mountain at different points, like you can see here. There are 5 different paths that can be taken up and down the mountain. 2 are lines that include taking a shuttle bus through the 99 bends and a cable car to get up or down the mountain. There are also 3 other routes. Riding the shuttle buses is a relatively safe option for seeing this insane road, as the drivers routinely drive over 120 miles, 200 kilometers, and make over 2,000 of the sharp turns on the road each day. These drivers have expert skill and precision to make an otherwise insane road an enjoyable ride. The drivers are known for driving the road at high speeds, which, with so many turns, may make the drive nauseating. Riders are advised not to eat food while on the moving bus to avoid getting motion sickness. Not only that, but the risk of an earthquake during bad weather renders the road even more treacherous. If you like the looks of 99 Bend Road, you might also want to check out Stelvio Pass in Italy, famed for its steep curves and 60 hairpin turns that take place over just 15 miles. Many motorcyclists visit the northern Italy road for a real challenge. Similarly, in the Chilean Andes, Route 60 in Chile is the only road available up a steep mountain, with dozens of switchbacks that often cause traffic, accidents, and motion sickness. Could you stomach these winding roads? Across the ocean, tucked away on New Zealand's South Island, Skipper's Canyon Road is known for its intense, terrifying driving. The 14.2-mile, 22.6-kilometer gravel road near Queenstown often overhangs Skipper's Canyon and is narrow, winding, and has a number of steep drop-offs. The road took 7 years to carve out of a cliff face. Completed in 1890, Skipper's Canyon Road was originally an old hand-carved mining route built in 1888. So it's been around for a long time. It gave mining companies access to the upper Shotover River. This road is incredibly narrow, which makes it super hard to maneuver cars on the road. As you might imagine, rental cars are generally not allowed or insured to drive on this dangerous drive, but the stunning scenery and intense views attracts many visitors. As you can see, one wrong turn could lead to disaster. Every year, the road continues to claim hundreds of lives, despite being far safer than the original mining track. Over in Switzerland, the Furka Pass, famed for the Aston DB5 and Ford Mustang car chase in James Bond's Goldfinger, may just be one of the most iconic, breathtaking, and exhilarating drives on the list. The Goldfinger movie was filmed just in front of the Rhone Glacier, a tourist attraction and environmental phenomenon along the road. As one of the most famous drives in Switzerland, the road was first built in the 14th century for strategic military purposes and was the longest pass road in the nation when it opened to the public in 1867. The road, also known as Furka or Route 19, is almost 20 miles, 32 kilometers long, and has a maximum gradient of 10.8%. If you're wondering, that's incredibly steep. As a result, the many switchbacks, hairpin turns, and blind curves can be scary to navigate, especially since the road can get pretty busy and the weather can pose dangerous risks. Despite how steep and intense the drive is, the road is beautiful and stunning, with a unique mountain panorama, the Rhone Glacier, and a reopened steam railway. In fact, travelers can hike, climb, ski, and even walk through a tunnel into the glacier. The road is truly spectacular. Today, we've looked at some of the craziest, most insane roads in the world. Some of them are stunning and spectacular, but require intense and treacherous treks. Some are so dangerous that you should avoid them at all costs. But in any case, it's clear that our roads do more than just take us from place to place. They tell of our history and show patterns of connections between people. They allow us to journey through even the most intense of terrain. They also serve as reminders of those who have lost their lives as a result of the dangers and treachery associated with unsavory conditions and insane roads. Have you visited any of these crazy roads? Would you dare trek along any of these spectacular, insane routes?